So I've been drawing eyes wrongly for a very long time now, and I think I just cracked the code. It's one of those things where you think you are doing fine, but something always looks off, like the eyes just don't feel alive. I spent hours analyzing where I was going wrong, everything from proportions to shading, and I finally figured out the tweaks that makes all the difference. And trust me, it is not as complicated as you think. In this video, I'm going to break it all down for you. The common mistakes, tiny adjustments, and the key techniques that will instantly level up your eye drawing. And by the end, you should be able to draw eyes that actually looks back at you. Now, let's dive in. The first thing you have to understand is the eye structure. A lot of people, including me when I started, treat the eye like it's just an oval with a circle inside. But in reality, the eye is a three-dimensional form. It is a sphere sitting in the eye sockets with the eyelids wrapping around this sphere, creating the unique shapes and angles we see. To draw a basic eye, you start with a circle and then two smaller circles within it. But note that their placement is dependent on the position of the eye, which we will get into later in the video. Always start with a light sketch so it will be easier to clean or draw on top of it. At the early stage, I focus more on the proportions and symmetry than getting exactly how my reference picture looks like. And you should know that creating your own style is important, but there is nothing wrong with drawing from a reference. In fact, I would say you should use a reference picture as much as you can to build your media library. Understanding how to properly position the eye will help prevent your drawing from looking flat or misaligned, and treating the eye as a sphere ensure that all elements interact realistically with the 3D structure. The horizontal and vertical lines are used as guide for the position of the iris, and always note that the iris is usually half of the circle. This approach builds the framework for adding details like shading, texture, and reflections later on. After you are done with laying down the structure, it's time to learn how to properly shade an eye, because shading is what brings the drawing to life. To learn how to shade an eye, it is easier to practice using a sphere, because that is the shape of the eyeball and understanding tonal value is key here. I shaded almost the whole area lightly in a somewhat circular stroke, leaving the area where I want it to receive the light as a negative space. Then I smudged it all over with a cutting board before adding the second layer. Now that we have settled the basics, let me show you how I shade my eye drawing, but first, let's get the sketch done. Once I'm done with the line sketch, I erase it a bit and thicken the lines with the same pencil, but by adjusting the pressure. I don't make the whole line thick, just the darker part of the eye, most especially the corners and the top part of the eyelid. Then arch and smudge the whole area as the base before using a darker pencil to increase the tone. Understanding tonal value and knowing how to apply it is essential when shading, because it defines the light, shadow, and depth of an object. I smudge with a cutting board, sometimes my hand, and sometimes a blending stump. Let's just say I smudge with whichever is available at the time.